Hujambo mwanetu na karibu katika channel pedwa ya Gachi Skyman TV, the Tourisman Black Africa. Natumai umeamka vizuri na ubuheri wa afya jema. In this video, I want us to look at Eric Omondi and Dunstan Omari, because yesterday these two Kenyans made headlines, and Eric Omondi was picketing together with his friends and a number of youth, several of them, outside Parliament. For sure, it was along Parliament Road. And they were complaining, they were protesting against the high cost of living. They were protesting against the high cost of living, the price of commodities, the inability of parents to take their children to school, and inflation that is hitting this country. And within no time, we saw a confrontation between the group led by Eric Omondi, ambao walikuwa naiba bado mapambano, and the policemen. And the arrest was very brutal. And I think I'm going to post that link on, we are going to pin that link on the comment section so that you can see what was happening. And when he was arrested, waligizwa ndani ya Karadiga. Karadiga ni lile gari la polisi, na they were held like thugs, na tuliona polisi wakiwashika wakamata kama magaidi, na moja kwa moja wakafuruzwa hadi katika Central Police Station. And this was shocking in my view. On the other hand, Dunstan Omari was summoned by the DCI and was supposed to report today to the DCI around Kiambu Road. And the reason is because of the way he presented, he said about Matiang'i was just about to be arrested, and the way he said there were about 200 lawyers who had assembled, and they were raising the alarm. So the DCI want to get more information, because according to the DCI, the information was wrong. According to the DCI, Matiang'i was never invaded in his home in the first time. But what we know very well that in the second time we saw it, and all the media houses were able to stream, and it was live streaming. Na kile ambacho tunasema ni kwamba ikiwa walienda mara ya pili, basi kuna uwezekano pia walienda mara ya kwanza, na ikiwa walienda mara ya pili ni kuonyesha kwamba kulikuwa na mpango. But what we can say is that they want to know the person. If you ask me, I know the issue is to know the real motive for summoning Dunstan Omari is to know where he got, or where Matiang'i got the information, because there's fear that somebody could be leaking the information. So I want us to look at the political implications of these two events, because all said and done, they have a bearing in Kenyan politics today. The first thing is that we see the police now and the government infringing on people's rights. People have the right to picket, people have the right to associate, they have the right to demonstrate, they have the right to say no to something that they are not happy with. They have all the rights as enshrined in the Kenyan Constitution, and these rights and freedoms are inalienable. They cannot be denied by anybody, and Kenyans must be respected. So what we are seeing is the infringing of the people's rights, zile haki za kimsingi za binadamu ambazo kila mmoja huwa nazo. Tunaona sasa serikali imeanza kuziingilia, something that was happening during the time of Moi, na sasa wakati wa Kibaki mambo haya yalikuwa yameisha. Wakati wa Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta mambo haya yalikuwa yametokomea kabisa. But now we are seeing the return of Fibo ya Nyayo. Again, we saw the police using what I would call brutal force. It is wrong to use brutal force against people who are not armed, people who are just demonstrating, people who are not causing chaos, and they are not infringing on other people's rights. What they were saying is that they were expressing themselves. So that brutal force, in my view, is wrong. And we could hear the police hurling insults and printables when they were taken to the police station. Wakati aligizwa pale, tuliona wakirusha maneno ambayo yaliwaonyesha kama wapioro, watu ambao unaweza kurusha matusi hapa na pale. and this is a lack of respect to the people who employ these policemen. It is wrong to use brutal force. There is the kind of force that should be used, and even using tear gas is wrong. And we can see now what is happening in this country. Again, we can say that the government seems now to be abusing its powers. It is good, yes, the government is in power, but it's also good to remember that all power belongs to the people, and the people have the right to demonstrate. And the government is abusing its powers. It is abusing its powers. And when you see the government abusing its powers, it is going overboard, because hiki huku kunaweza kulinganishwa na kuua panya ukitumia mziga, ukitumia bastora. It is wrong to shoot a mosquito using a gun, kwa sababu wao ni vijana ambao wamejitokeza na wana haki yao ya kuteta, kusema kwamba maisha yaendi vizuri, wana haki yao ya kusema kwamba mambo si mazuri, wana haki yao ya kulalamika. And I don't know, because you cannot muzzle human beings. You cannot muzzle human beings because they have all the reason. They are thinking and they know what is going right and what is going wrong. And what they were saying is that the country is moving in the wrong direction. Again, when you look at Danson Omari, what you can say is that this is intimidating professionals. It is wrong to intimidate professionals. Danson Omari ni mtu ambaye anafanya kazi vizuri sana. Tumewahi kumuona akiwakilisha watu wa UDA ama Kenya Kwanza. Tumewahi kumuona akiwakilisha watu wa Azimio. And one thing that is coming out very clearly these days is that the government seems to have a very negative attitude towards Danson Omari. And I remember Ishongwe, there was a time he was saying that Danson Omari is very keen aonekane kwa media, ndio ajulikane, which is good in my view. There's nothing wrong with that, because he's a professional. He's looking for money, just like other politicians are looking for money. But he's doing the right thing because he's a professional. You cannot intimidate professionals because they are doing their work in a professional way. And I believe that if this continues, we are also going to see other professionals like doctors, like teachers, being intimidated because of doing their work. He did the right thing. And Matiang'i has all the right to be represented by Danson Omari, and Danson Omari does not choose. It's a criminal lawyer. Lazima awakilishe wale watu ambao anaona wanafaa kuwakilishwa. Again, we can see the return of a police state. Kenya is turning out to be a police state. Tuliona wakati ambapo William Samoei Ruto alichukua hatamu za uongozi. We saw the way the police, some of them were held in courts, wengine sijui kama kesi zao ziliisha, na pia tumeona siku hizi sasa wakivamia aliyekuwa cabinet secretary of interior Fred Matiang'i, which is wrong, an embarrassment to a senior citizen. And we all the time we are seeing police all over. And when the country turns into a police state, people have all the reason to get worried. Again, what we can say is that we have started seeing the erosion of the democratic gains that were made in this country since independence. Kwa sababu tulikuwa tunaona kwamba watu walikuwa na uhuru hapo beleni kuongea vile ambavyo wanataka, kufanya vile ambavyo wanataka, ilmradi tu watimize malengo yao bila kuleta vurugu, without causing any harm to anybody. But now what we are seeing is that even the gains that were made by the 2010 constitution are being eroded very fast. Na tunaona kwamba the government that we have is not very tolerant. The government that we have is not very keen on respecting people's rights. It is not very keen on respecting, because I don't think there's anything wrong, because leo we have always said that power is transient. Leo uko hapa, kesho utakuwa sehemu nyingine, utaachia wengine, because kingdoms rise and win, but the truth, the facts will always remain. It is only the truth that will always remain. Again, what we are likely to say is that what you can see in this video is that now that Eric Omondi is not just anybody. It's not mtu wa kawaida huyu. Ni mtu ambaye anajua mambo mengi. It's an informed guy. It's a celeb, all said and done. And what we are likely to see, we are likely to see more protests. They are likely to follow because of what happened. And I believe if many people knew that Eric Omondi was going to picket around Parliament Road, najua watu wengi wangejitokeza, vijana wengi wangejitokeza, kwa sababu ya unajua huyu Eric Omondi kama tunavyoona, the guy is youthful. And this is just a message to the government that the youth are not happy. Our youth are not happy, are dissatisfied with the government and the way things are being worked out by the government. The way the government is operating, the youth are not happy. This is the issue of unemployment. Kuna pesa, kuna matatizo mengi ambayo yanapata vijana, na kwa hivyo tunaweza kuona kwamba we are likely to see more protests if what we are seeing is anything to go by. So what the government needs to do is to negotiate with the youth and provide jobs. And when Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta alikuja na kazi mitaani, nafikiri alikuwa anajua vile anafanya, kwa sababu the issue of youth unemployment in this country is a time bomb, na inaweza kulipuka wakati wote, na ikilipuka it will be very hard to contain this. And the youth ni watu ambao wana nguvu nyingi sana, ni watu ambao wanaweza kufanya mambo mengi sana, na ni vizuri kuangalia na wapewe kipaumbele na washughulikiwe kwa njia ambayo inafaa, because without that I can tell you more protests are likely to come in major towns and even in the villages. And if this happens, it will be very, very difficult for the government to continue burying its head in the sand. Jambo lingine ni kwamba Kenyans are frustrated. That's the message that I read yesterday, that Kenyans are angry because when you look at the demonstrators, walikuwa wanaonyesha hasira nyingi sana, walikuwa wanaonyesha kwamba hawana furaha, and an angry person is a hungry person, a hungry person is an angry person, and it is very hard to contain a mob wakati ambapo wana hasira, kwa sababu unaweza kufanya chochote kile. Kwa hivyo that is the message that the government should read instead of arresting the people. In fact, what they should have done is to call them for a meeting, a public baraza, like Raila is doing, and negotiate with the youth and see what can be done. Again, there's the issue, because I've said Eric Omondi is not your ordinary person. There's the threat, there's the risk of now having people rioting. And when you add this to Raila Amolo Odinga's, Mother Caroline Kalonzo's meetings, Azimio meetings, because today they will be in Jivanji Garden, and we don't know from Jivanji Garden what they are going to do, what they are going to say. Now, what watasema nini? Kwa sababu something that came out yesterday very clearly is that it is not Raila who is leading this demonstration. It is the people now, because these meetings are now look like they are people driven. They are not being driven by the political leaders. And the message, even to the political leaders, is that if you don't provide directions, the youth are going to provide directions. Kama hamtafanya kazi, vijana wanaonekana kwamba watajitokeza na watakuwa na mwelekeo wao. So even Raila Amolo Odinga need to be very careful with this, because he need to provide directions. Because kule kujitokeza kwa Eric Omondi na vijana wengine mabarobaro ni jambo moja ambalo linaonyesha kwamba they are despairing, because they are waiting for direction from Raila Amolo Odinga and the others. Again, the issue of awareness is coming out very clearly. People are very much aware that there's a problem in this country. And Eric Omondi kule kujitokeza kwake kunafanya watu wengi wahamasishwe kwamba ama kweli kuna mambo ambayo yanafaa kufanywa. And I believe Eric Omondi wanted just to show the way, and others people can follow. And I think in the fullness of time, even if the government use the police force will be tired. These guys will be tired. Kwa sababu huwezi ukasema kila wakati tutumia polisi, jambo lote likitokea ni polisi. Hata wao wenyewe watachoka. Na if anything, the policemen also going through the same kind of experiences. It doesn't mean that if a policeman has a car that is going to fuel petrol at a lower price. Unajua ni heri wangekuwa wanajeshi, kwa sababu wanajeshi have what we call the armed forces canteen, whereby they buy items at subsidized prices. But polisi sasa kutumiwa pale kupiga raia na wanaume, in fact the policemen ni wenzetu. Hata sijui kwa nini wanakubali kutumika hivi, kwa sababu leo ni wao wanatumika, kesho kutakuja serikali nyingine na utaona wakifuatiliwa kama vile William Samoei Ruto alifuatilia wale ambao walikuwa wakisemekana walikuwa wanafanya yale mambo walikuwa wanafanya, the allegations that were levied against them by the government. So it is better even for the policemen to know that all what Kenyans are fighting for is democracy, truth, justice, fairness, and kama ni taxation, kule kulipa kodi, kuwe na what we call a human face, because people are being taxed heavily, and this is not what people want. Because all said and done, the country is ours. All said and done, the country belongs to all of us, sio ya watu wachache. Kila mmoja anahitaji kuwa na mwelekeo, because what we need here is a nation, not even a country, a nation that speaks one language, a nation that has one aspiration, and with the goals that are achievable. Lakini sasa kile ambacho tunaona ni nchi ambayo ni makabila ambayo yametapakaa kila mahali, na this is not what our forefathers had when they were fighting for independence. This is Kassis Kamani TV, the tallest man Black Africa. Remember to like this video and subscribe for those who have never subscribed, and may you have a blessed day. Bye bye.